There are moments when you arrive somewhere and feel everything change. The environment goes silent. Some people look away. Others force a smile that doesn't convince. The conversation that was lively suddenly dissolves, as if your presence has touched something there. If this happens to you, it's because your energy does not go unnoticed. The chosen ones carry a vibration that precedes any word. You can enter quietly without drawing attention and still be noticed. Because what accompanies you is not in what you wear or say, it is in what you are, and that speaks for itself. Your light arrives before any introduction. This light does not please everyone. It disturbs, because it reveals. In places where everything is disguise, your presence becomes a mirror. It shows what is hidden. It exposes what many do not want to see. And for this reason, some withdraw, become irritated, or reject you. It is not personal. It is spiritual. People who live in illusion feel threatened by those who carry truth. And the chosen one, even without intention, carries this. They do not need to impose themselves. They just need to be. Their energy, even unwittingly, moves what is stagnant, and this will not always be well received. You may have noticed this. You do not make an effort to attract attention, but even so, it comes. Sometimes in the form of criticism, jealousy, or exclusion. What few understand is that this is just the natural reaction of those who feel, without knowing how to explain, the presence of someone who did not come just for a visit. In this video, you will understand why your presence bothers, what it activates in others, and why this is yet another sign that you are a chosen one. A sign that, even in silence, you are already fulfilling a greater purpose. If you are not yet part of our channel, take the opportunity to subscribe now. Some people enter a room and no one notices. Others, just by getting closer, already make an impact. Not by what they say, nor by their appearance, but by their presence. There is a vibration that goes ahead, that announces. And when it's the energy of a chosen one, there is no way to go unnoticed. The chosen one carries something that cannot be explained with logic. They can be someone simple, quiet, without any effort to attract attention. Even so, they are noticed. People sense their arrival. The conversation changes. The air feels heavier for some, lighter for others. The environment reacts, even without words. This happens because the energy they carry is not common. It comes from a deeper place. It comes from a soul that has been torn and sewn back together inside. One that has gone through real pains, profound silences, and difficult discoveries. The presence of the chosen one is marked by truth. And truth, when it comes in contact with what is false, provokes movement. In environments where there is pretense, manipulation, or charged energy, the chosen one causes discomfort, without doing anything. Just by existing there, their vibration begins to stir what was artificially organized. Masks become heavy. Facades become fragile. Their presence acts as a mirror that no one asked for. Those at peace feel welcomed. Those who are unbalanced feel threatened. It is not personal. It is spiritual. The energy of a chosen one touches others where they most avoid, at the point that hides their own truth. Not because they want to expose anyone, but because their natural vibration already emanates light, and light reveals. This is what bothers so much. It is common for these people to attract judgmental glances, silent comments, and disguised rejection, not because they did something wrong, but because they carry something that many still do not recognize within themselves. The shine of a chosen one does not need to be intense to disturb. It just needs to be true. Their vibration is not loud, it is firm. And that is enough. They do not try to convince, they do not need a stage, They do not compete for attention. Even so, they cause discomfort in those who still live in internal conflict. Because the one who is already connected with their essence unintentionally shows how far the other is still from their own. That is why it is so common for the chosen one to be the target of veiled envy, unfounded distancing, and cold reactions. Their energy field stands out. Even when they try to hide, they are perceived. You cannot camouflage an awakened soul. And this is not a curse. It is part of the mission. Those who are chosen did not come to fit in. They came to generate transformation. Sometimes just with their presence. Sometimes just with their gaze. Sometimes without saying a word. Because there is a frequency that speaks without sound. And those who still do not know how to handle it will react in the only way they know, with resistance. But the truth is that this only confirms what is already in motion. You carry something that stirs others because it has already stirred you. Your energy is a reflection of your journey, and it did not come into the world to please. It came to illuminate. Not all rejection is personal. Often it is energetic. When a chosen one enters an environment, they carry a field of light that does not need to be explained. It is something that is felt. And those who are used to living hidden within their own shadow feel this impact strongly. The presence of the chosen one is bothersome because it is not common. Their energy is transparent, true light. And this lightness weighs on those who carry burdens. Their peace provokes those who live in conflict. Their clarity unwittingly shows how lost the other still is within themselves. That is why there is discomfort. You are a mirror. You are not doing anything wrong. You're just existing. But for those who are masked, this existence is an alert. Your light shows what the other tries to hide from everyone, sometimes even from themselves. And this generates a mix of anger, envy, and resistance. It is automatic, and you feel it. You know that look that sweeps over you from head to toe? That tone of voice that changes when you arrive? The subtle attitudes that seem small, but are constant. These are reactions to your light, to what you carry inside, which confronts what is unresolved in others. Envious people are not angry about something you said. They are angry about what you are, about what you maintain in silence. Because while they live trying to prove something to the world, you simply are. And this is unbearable for those who still need masks to feel accepted. The shadow is bothered when the light appears. Not because the light attacks, but because it reveals. And the chosen one, even without intention, acts as this walking revelation. They carry truth, and truth bothers those who hide. This is not about judgment. It is about vibration. Those who are at odds with themselves feel the other as a threat, even if the other has said nothing. Because the presence of the chosen one reminds what is dormant in others. It reminds them that there is a soul there, waiting to be awakened. But that has been ignored for a long time. That is why many people react with irony, coldness, or disdain. They try to diminish your presence, devalue your energy, label your way of being. Because unconsciously, they are trying to protect themselves from what they feel when they are near you. They do not want to see their own truth, and you remind them of it. You are like a clean mirror. And when someone who lives in denial looks in that mirror, they do not like what they see. But the mirror is not to blame. It simply reflects. Similarly, the chosen one does not need to justify themselves. Their existence already reveals what needs to be seen. This is the root of the discomfort. You do not confront with words. You confront with presence. Your light does not attack. It only exposes. And those who are not ready to see react with withdrawal, resistance, or even emotional aggression. But do not be mistaken. This only shows how real your energy is. Understanding this changes everything, because you stop thinking that the problem lies with you. You stop trying to mold yourself. You stop hiding what you feel, and you begin to honor your vibration as part of your mission. You did not come to be accepted. You came to be truth. Not always is envy linked to what you have. Often it is linked to who you are. Envious people may even use superficial excuses, criticizing your appearance, your projects, or your choices. But deep down, what bothers them is your truth. And this, no material good can provoke. The chosen one carries authenticity. They do not wear masks to fit in. They do not pretend to feel what they do not feel. And this frightens others. Because those who live for appearances need theater. They need applause, validation, comparison. And when someone appears with inner peace and simplicity, without making an effort, discomfort arises. It is easier to envy a house, a car, and apparent success. These can be achieved, bought, or imitated. But the calmness of someone who knows themselves, the firmness of someone who does not need to prove anything, the courage to be who they are, this cannot be copied. And that is why it bothers so much those who live hiding. The presence of the chosen one, because it is clear and coherent, activates fear in those who live behind a facade, because it shows that it is possible to live with truth, and this confronts the path of those who have chosen lies. The envious cannot stand this idea. They need to discredit you to continue believing in what they have built. What bothers them the most is that you do not need to struggle to make an impact. You do not shout, you do not compete, you do not promote yourself, you just are. And that is already enough to awaken insecurity in those who depend on applause to feel like someone. Your authenticity is a threat, even in silence. Those who do not know how to deal with their own soul feel fear from those who have already met theirs. And for this reason, they try to neutralize you. They diminish your speech, mock your choices, treat your light as exaggeration. But none of this has to do with you. It has to do with the pain that your authenticity provokes in others. The envy you feel in the air, the sideways glances, the malicious comments. All of this is just a reflection of the fear that your essence awakens, not for being arrogant, but for being firm, not for being perfect, but for being true. And this, in a world of appearances, is dangerous. The chosen one does not need to impose themselves. Their integrity speaks, their coherence vibrates, and those who live disconnected perceive this immediately. They may not know how to explain it, but they feel it. And often, they feel anger. Anger at not being able to be the same. Anger at needing to pretend while you live naturally. You are a living reminder of everything the other denies in themselves. That is why your authenticity will never be neutral. In those who are ready, it inspires. In those who are lost, it provokes. And in those who are at war with themselves, it becomes a target. But in all cases, it has a profound impact. Understanding this helps you stop molding yourself. You were not called to be just another. You were called to be whole. And this wholeness frightens those who live in pieces. Your courage to be who you are, even in fear, is already a form of healing. It is already a mission fulfilled. The chosen one does not need to say anything to make an impact. Their mere presence shakes everything around them. They can be quiet, observing, just existing. And still, there is discomfort. This happens because the silence of someone who is whole is louder than 1,000 words spoken without truth. In environments where people are used to manipulating, controlling, or disguising feelings, the chosen one destabilizes. Not because they do something against others, but because what they carry inside confronts everything that is kept on the surface. Their silence exposes the imbalance of others. Those who live trying to appear as something they are not feel threatened by those who are just who they are. Because the chosen one does not need to justify themselves or explain every gesture. They do not depend on external acceptance to feel secure. And this bothers those who live for the approval of others. In many places, their calmness is read as arrogance. Their introspection is treated as disinterest, their firmness as a challenge. But in reality, what bothers is their freedom. They do not submit to the emotional game. They do not get lost in the need to please. And this takes control away from those who need to dominate the environments. That is why they try to provoke you. They make acid comments, test your limits, push you into a corner. They try to take you out of the center because your balance exposes their chaos. Your silence is a mirror that reveals the internal noise they try to hide. And this causes immediate discomfort. You can see this clearly. There are people who get irritated by your way of being for no reason at all. Others make a point of invalidating your speech, even without knowing your story. These attitudes, although they seem personal, are only defenses against the impact your vibration causes effortlessly. What many do not understand is that the chosen one is not there to compete. They are there to be. But to be, in a world where almost everyone is acting, is revolutionary. And silent revolutions are the ones that bother the most, because you cannot control what you cannot predict. Your silence disorganizes fragile structures. It brings to light what was hidden. And in environments based on vanity, lies, or convenience, the truth that you carry becomes too uncomfortable to ignore. It is at this point that isolation begins, not because you withdraw, but because people, unable to deal with what they feel near you, create distance. And even without saying anything, you are accused of thinking too highly of yourself, of being cold, of not mixing in. But you know, you feel, you perceive that the rejection does not come because you are bad. It comes because your awakened soul bothers those who are still asleep. And the more you try to fit in, the further you move away from yourself. Because what makes your light exist is precisely that honest silence. Being a chosen one is also learning to deal with this strange loneliness. It is understanding that your silence is protection. That it is a space where your soul breathes, strengthens, and remains whole, even when the world around seems to push you out. You do not need to speak loudly. You do not need to prove your worth. Your truth already manifests simply by being there. And those who have ears to feel will feel it. Those who are not ready will distance themselves. But none of this changes what you are. Have you noticed that some people seem bothered by you, even when you are doing nothing? Sometimes, just arriving changes the atmosphere. It's not because you said something. It's not because you did something wrong. It's because your presence awakens something that others try to keep hidden. What you carry inside you is different. Your light is on. And this light, even if you try to hide it, radiates. It touches the space. It reaches people. And inevitably, it activates what is dormant in those who have not yet awakened. This discomfort you cause, unknowingly, is proof of that. You represent something that many do not understand. It is not superiority. It is not arrogance. It is depth. It is the energy of someone who has gone through the process, who has had their soul broken and despite that, chose not to harden. This silent choice stirs those who are still trapped in versions that are not true. Your authenticity provokes. Your calmness deconstructs. Your lightness bothers those who live carrying masks, and no matter how much they try to disguise it, you notice. The atmosphere changes. The smiles are tense. The gestures are controlled. And this is a sign. Not that you are wrong, but that you are active light in a dormant environment. The chosen one does not need to explain themselves. They simply vibrate differently. And this vibration, even without intention, reveals. It shows that it is possible to be true, even after pain. It shows that there is something more beyond what the world presents, and this frightens those who still do not have the courage to look within. Behind the criticism, the irony, the distancing, there is fear. Fear of not being able to keep up. Fear of being forgotten. Fear that your light exposes what is unresolved within them. And that is exactly why you irritate them unintentionally. Because you are a constant reminder that something greater exists. Those who still live for appearances feel your presence as an alert. Your existence shouts what they try to silence, that there is a calling, a mission, a truth, and this truth is approaching, and they are not ready. That is why they attack, distort, reject. It is fear manifesting as defense. You do not need to respond to this attack, nor justify yourself. Just understand that this is a sign. The irritation you awaken in some is merely a reflection of the power you carry. Do not try to extinguish that. Do not try to diminish yourself. This light was not given in vain. Some will follow you in silence. They will observe, be inspired, learn. Others will reject you, mock you, try to discredit you, but all will feel it in some way, because what is real, what is pure, what comes from the soul, does not go unnoticed. It touches, and once touched, no one forgets. This discomfort is not an obstacle, it is confirmation. It is the universe showing you that yes, you have been called, that your presence already plays a role, even effortlessly. That your journey, with all the pains you have faced, now serves as a beacon. You are a living reminder that there is a path outside of darkness. Their fear is not of you, it is of what you represent. And that is precisely why your light is so necessary. Because where there is darkness, it takes just a spark to begin the transformation. Not always will you be warmly welcomed. Sometimes your presence causes discomfort, even before you open your mouth. You enter a place and you can already feel it. The atmosphere is heavy, the gazes divert. Some people leave, others remain silent, but you feel there is something there reacting to your light. And it's not because you're doing something wrong, it's because you're doing something rare. Being true. In a world where so many pretend, performance has become the norm. But you do not perform. You simply are. And that by itself is already a revolution. An authentic, silent, and firm presence is everything that other people's egos do not want to see. Your energy does not need to be explained. It is perceived. You do not need to justify yourself. Just by existing, you confront what is unbalanced around you. And yes, this discomforts. Your calmness discomforts. Your lightness discomforts. Your sensitivity discomforts. Because your light reveals what was hidden. Many people will try to make you believe that the problem is you, that you are strange, that you are exaggerated, that you think too highly of yourself. But deep down, all of this is just an attempt to make you doubt who you are. Because if you doubt, you dim your light. And if you dim your light, you stop bothering them. Don't fall for that. You were not called to please. You were called to illuminate. And light, when it arrives in a dark place, is never welcomed with celebration. First, it blinds. Then it reveals. And only then, it transforms. But the process at the beginning tends to be uncomfortable. Not for you, but for others. Many times you will feel out of place. You will want to hide. You will think about molding yourself just to avoid the weight of rejection. But no, this is a test, a spiritual test, a silent call saying, keep going. Because who you are, even without speaking, is already fulfilling a purpose. You do not need to force anything. You just need to keep that flame alive, that truth that sustains you on days when everything seems confusing, that strength that you do not always know where it comes from, but that insists on lifting you. It is there for a reason, and that reason is greater than any external opinion. Some people will distance themselves from you. Others will try to extinguish you with words, irony, actions. They will try to make you question yourself, to minimize yourself, to dim your light. But this only happens because next to you, they see themselves more clearly. And not everyone is ready for that. What these people feel is not hatred. It is fear. Fear of seeing themselves. Fear of realizing that you are too real. And they are far from that. You are a reminder. You are proof. You are a silent answer that there is another path. A path where the soul is the guide. Being a chosen one is this. It is carrying a truth that hurts before it heals. It is walking with integrity, even when no one understands. It is shining without wanting to, and sometimes blinding without intention. But all of this is part of it. All of this is confirmation. Your presence bothers because your mission is active. You do not need to understand everything now. You just need to proceed with awareness and continue igniting, even when the world tells you to extinguish. Keep walking with truth. Keep being who you are. Continue with a clean heart, even when the atmosphere feels heavy. Your light is not an exaggeration. It is an answer. And those who need that answer will feel it. They will remember. They will awaken. Sometimes, it is in your silence that another soul finds its voice. Sometimes, it is in your presence that another soul finds courage. You cannot imagine who may be inspired just by seeing you continue. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment down below. It can be a word, a personal experience, or just an "I feel that too." This is a space of truth, and your truth may be exactly what someone needs to read today.